Okay, to tonight, to John Bacon, my friend over there wearing the gold tie. I'm going to just crib from some notes because it's said very well here. I read it and learned some things I didn't know about John. He's worked nearly 3 decades as a writer, a public speaker, and a college instructor, winning awards for all 3. This I didn't know. He has an honors degree in history from the University of Michigan and a master's in ed as well. In 2005, he was the Knight Wallace Journalism Fellowship, and he had the Benny Friedman Fellowship there for sports journalism. He started his journalism career covering high school sports for the Ann Arbor News, then wrote a lighthearted lifestyle column before becoming the Sunday sports feature writer for the Detroit News in 1995. He earned numerous state and national awards for his work, including notable sports writing and the Best American Sports Writing in 98 and 2000. And that's no small feat to get into that publication. And this I didn't know. He covered the Nagano Olympics in 98. And after that, he moved to the sports page, from the sports page to the Sunday front page, roaming the Great Lakes states, finding fresh features. Then he left the paper in 99, which was the make or break moment to become a freelancer, which you might talk about a bit tonight. And he's freelanced for a lot of publications, about 24 of them. Covered Formula One racing in Australia for the New York Times, Japanese hockey for ESPN, and Hemingway's Michigan for Time Magazine. He's authored 11 books on sports, business, health, and history, 5 of which are New York Times bestsellers. The thing that probably interests us most tonight is John's talents as a public speaker. Anyone in this audience see his Halifax speech? Wow, you've got a lot of fans here, John. Amazing speech about which I still get comments on the street. I wondered, how does he do it? It was like such a good story. It was so seamless. Now I know, because we've been working to put on this event, and tonight he's unveiling for the very first time his new talk about his new book, Let Them Lead. And before coming over here, I saw him at Starbucks. There was a guy sitting out at the table facing the busy traffic, and he was talking to himself. And he was gesturing, and he was doing this. And I said, that's John Bacon. He must be practicing his new speech. So we'll see how well you did. Lastly, he, in 2011, was awarded the Michigan chapter of Meeting Planners International Speaker of the Year. Bacon is now an average hockey player, a mediocre Spanish speaker, and a poor piano player, but this has not stopped him from enjoying all 3. He lives in Ann Arbor with Christy, his wife right there. Hi, Christy. And with their son, Teddy. I want to thank John Bacon for coming to the stage and reopening the campfire of our story, which we try to light every time here at the Writers Series. It's going to be a barn burner. Prepare to laugh, and don't forget to buy a book when he's done. Thank you, and we'll see you after the show.
Love you, man. That was awesome. Yes, I'll just tilt down this microphone from my friend Doug. So I got a lavalier right here in my lapel, so we're okay. I once emceed the Michigan basketball event. That involved about a 3-foot difference, actually, in microphones, so this is a little easier. Anyway, first of all, first things first, great to be here, and of course, we can probably all say greater than we even thought 2 years ago or so. As my wife said, talking about this in advance, oh yes, people, I remember you. So it's good to see all of you again. More than a few battles we all had to win to be here the last year and a half. None greater, I think, than from the National Writers Series. They've been fantastic. I've been with them since 2015 or so. I think 3 or 4 of my books have been on stage, and of course hosted a few guys as well. I do about 50 or 60 events for each book, and this is my 5th or 6th event that I've done, or 5th or 6th book I've done, sorry. So I've done about 300-400 events nationwide, from LA to Seattle, from Boston to Miami, everything in between. And most of you are probably not writers, but I can tell you right now, I'm not kidding you, the single best venue for writers in the country. And the proof is Tom Brokaw and Anna Quinlan and Doug Brinkley, national stars, will all stop here in Traverse City. And that's a testament to Doug and Ann Stanton for starting this. The board for keeping it going, of course. Jillian, now the new director, and of course my all-time favorite bookstore, Horizon, there in the back. So, dirty little secret, by the way, I've written parts of all of my last 6 books in that little window in Horizon, by the way. So, I recommend the sandwich. It's very good. So that's a wonderful thing. It's also great to be here in Traverse City. I know all stand-up comics start by saying that, but I actually got quite a few ties here. I know you guys all consider me a fudgy anyway, so there's no getting around that. But my grandfather did buy a house in Bel Air, Michigan in 1899, my great-grandfather actually. My grandfather bought some land on Torch Lake for $7,000 in 1956. I hear it's more now. Is that true? So we've been coming up here on Torch Lake my entire life. Ross Childs is here, my first hockey coach. Wonderful man, surrogate dad in many ways. I've got very good parents. They're both still alive, but Ross had a huge impact on my life as my first coach. Hockey is not usually considered a gateway towards moral virtue, I don't think. But the way Ross taught us, it was. So I grew up thinking that actually coaching high school hockey would be a noble thing to do. And not many people think that, I don't think. So I used to go to Glacier Dome with Scott Childs back in the day. Glacier Dome was a hockey camp, by the way, in 77, 78. And now I believe it's a lumber yard. Is that correct? So there's my youth right there. So love Traverse City. Glad to be here again. And I also want to praise all of you, too, because when I go around the country, LA is a one-off. You try to get a bookstore, you get a venue, you get someone to back it. But each time, it's a new struggle. Seattle, same thing, and there's some good clubs out there and so on. This is set up this way. And what I've learned traveling the country, you get the culture you deserve. And here in Traverse City, you have the Cherry Festival, the Film Festival, the National Writer Series, of course, because you have supported this. And you're here tonight, by the way, against all odds. You're here tonight as well. So thank all of you for supporting this. So thank you. Now let's get down to the business at hand, and that is my crazy getup. This is the Ann Arbor Huron High School fleece jacket. We also have fleece pants to go with it. Khakis on the road for away games, of course. Wear dress socks, boys. No tube socks, please. This is the getup. So I might be sweating by the end of this, but damn it, you have to take one for the team sometimes, and I intend to. So what is the book all about? The problem is simple, and I did not write this book until, and it's through, once again, Traverse City, actually. I did not take my team up here to Howe and Center Ice for the Thanksgiving tournament until 02 and 03, my 3rd and 4th years, when I knew we were good enough to show Ross Childs our team. So I got a lot of great memories in Civic, in the Howe Arena, of course. But also in 2014, I gave a talk about this, a TED Talk at Northern Michigan College, wearing the same getup, and didn't give much thought. I had not written much about this, no books certainly. And then 5 years later, when I'm on a book tour in New York, my previous publisher, Rick Wolf, who did Jack Welch's From the Gut and 60 other business blockbusters, he says, "What do you have in leadership?" And I said, "Not much." But I sent him the link to the TED Talk here in Traverse City, and he liked that. And he said, "Write a few chapters." So I wrote a few chapters like that. We kept on going. Before I knew it, almost by accident, I had a contract with Houghton Mifflin to write about the Huron hockey team, thanks to the TED Talk down the street. So I owe you guys for that as well. I think some of you might have been there, actually. So great crowd that night. And why write a book about a no-name high school hockey team in Ann Arbor 17, 18 years later? And the answer is workers today. Because his angle, Rick's angle, was a good one. And that is that everyone is complaining constantly, and especially now during COVID, and probably doubly especially up here, where labor is so hard to get, naturally, at all the stores and all the restaurants and so on. And what do you hear? That the current generation, the guys coming up, the workers today, they're lazy, they're selfish, they're entitled, they expect a participation trophy for coming to work, every day. No, what you get is a paycheck, actually, for coming to work every day. So that was the genesis of that, and there are basically 2 approaches that companies take with this crowd. The first one is the old school command and control, my way or the highway, where you give a lot of orders. And I was raised on that. Bill Cutting, my old teammate from way back in Ann Arbor, he was raised on that as well. You probably were as well. where you just give orders and that's that. That does not work anymore, obviously. The other way is where you give them everything. You give them casual Fridays, Taco Tuesdays, kombucha machines, beanbag chairs to sit on, blah, blah, blah. And they love that, but that does not get you anything. So they won't listen to the first one. You don't get work out of the second one. Neither one works. What does work? And my answer for that is coaching. And when you think about your favorite teacher, all right, and everybody in the world can come up with your favorite teacher in 5 seconds. I asked this question by accident about 7 or 8 years ago in a speech in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I quickly discovered that everybody in the world can come up with your favorite teacher in 5 seconds. And I've asked this question in Vancouver, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in Santiago, Chile, in English, Portuguese, and Espanol. And the answer, by the way, could be a third grade teacher, could be a high school teacher, could be a college teacher, could be Spanish or physics or anything, a lot of variables except these two. Everyone says, I ask, was your teacher easy? Your favorite teacher, was he or she easy? Never, not once, ever. Never. Zero. All right, that is data you have to take seriously. And you're thinking right now, if your favorite teacher, I guarantee you, he or she was not easy. You're nodding already. And then I asked, did your favorite teacher care about you? Did they know your name? Did they stay after school if need be? All right, would they give you extra help? Did they believe in you? Yes, 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 and yes. And that's it. That is the coaching model. So now the question is how to apply that to a situation that I found myself in. In 2000, Ann Arbor Huron High School, my alma mater, home of, yes, the River Rats, and I'm not making that up. Brad Gibson, you're over there, pal, back me on this one. Bill Cutting also. There are a lot of pioneers, a lot of titans, a lot of Trojans out there. I guarantee there's only one high school in America, River Rats. So that's all to ourselves. So what happens? They finished the 2000 season with a record of 0, 22, and 3. For you non-hockey fans out there, the 0 is where the wins go, okay? So this is a very bad team, 0, 22, and 3. There's some website called usahockey.com that ranks all the high schools in America, which makes no sense because we don't play all the teams in our state, let alone the whole nation. But nonetheless, they ranked them all. And in 2000, Ann Arbor Huron ranked dead last out of 954. That's impressive. Not bad, not really bad, but dead last in America. They had teams from California ahead of us. That pissed me off. Those guys surf. They do a lot of cool things. We have ice. We have snow. This is what we do. We're not surfing. We're doing this. So that bothered me a lot. So that was a bad scene to walk into, to say the least. They're thinking about killing the program, leaving the Metro League, one of the best in the state, all this stuff before I got in there. And then I'm a candidate for the job, but here's the catch. I'm the worst player in school history. This is not false modesty. I can prove this empirically. I still hold the record, not bragging, just saying, for the most games in a Huron uniform, 86, as Bill Cutting will tell you. I dressed for every game for 3 straight years. Back then, we only had 3-year high schools. Dressed for every single game and scored the fewest goals, 0. And that is hard to beat. Our all-state teammate, Brad McCaughey, played for Michigan, played in the pros. His records have all been broken, but my 0 has stood the test of time. So that's pretty cool. It's actually a family record. I hold this with my brother, who also played at Huron and also failed to score. Now, he likes to point out that he played goalie. We all got excuses. So here we have the worst team in America, 0 wins, the worst player in school history, 0 goals, and I want to coach this team. Yes, this is the combination we're looking for. A couple of zeros, and in fact, the interview committee felt the same way. 6 people on the committee, and the vote was 4-2 for the other guy. They didn't want me, and on the 4, by the way, included the athletic director, her secretary, one of the parents, and the incoming captain. That is not a good list, to say the least, but the 2 I had, the trainer and another parent, were so convinced that they kept on hammering these 4 people till finally one of them flipped their vote to AD, Jane Bennett, my 8th grade algebra teacher, who voted against me at first, by the way. What does this tell us? So it's finally 3-3, it's deadlocked. The principal is going to decide the deadlock. He knows not that much about hockey and even less about me, except that I went to Huron, and that's how I got the damn job.